Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D, Kevin Easley, life running Eagles. I've talked about this on the phone one time, but that is a program that has a proud, long history. I mean, everybody knows I followed NAI basketball my entire life, and I knew all about life in the 80s. I mean, it's a program that has been really big time for a long time. So number one, what does it mean to you? You're there, you have that job, but be getting them back to Kansas City.
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Storied history, incredible program. They've done some remarkable things. And, it's really been cool seeing a lot of the coaches and a lot of the people that have been involved with NAI for a long time to say, glad to have you guys back up here. It's kind of a thing, they used to say like, oh man, when the Lakers are good, basketball is really good.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you feel like that a little bit, but it is good. We've been close a few times, but it's good to finally get back.
Yeah. So talk about what it means to the university and to you and your program to get back here, to be here.
It means a lot, but we're not just happy to be here. Like we belong. Like this isn't a vacation. We're looking around, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Like we're up here to win. We feel like we have a good enough chance to win this whole thing. Obviously, you have to take it one game at a time. We have a very formidable opponent in front of us, but we are extremely happy to be here and compete with a lot of these teams that are here.
You didn't get it. You did not have an easy road here. You had to go to Marion, Lucky Arena, home of the Indiana Wesleyan. Remind me who you played in the first round.
We played Johnson in the first round.
That's right, Johnson. You just told me that. Yeah. And that's an up-and-coming program now. But then you had to play Indiana Wesleyan in Lucky Arena. Talk about that.
That was a very interesting game because we obviously that was a home game for them when they played us. But we watched them the very first game of the tournament when they played Madonna, and the crowd got into it, and it was completely packed. And they do an unbelievable job of giving them resources and things to compete for championships. Hats off to them. Incredible home court advantage for them. They think they were 13-1. At home coming into our game.
Home,
and all the things that I've heard, man, these guys are tough at home. It's really tough to beat. And so I knew that, but my players didn't understand. Like they knew, oh man, it's a formidable crowd, but let's go in there, and they thrive in situations like that. So I don't think they understood the moment. So after the game, I tell my players, like I told my coaching staff, I was like, I don't think they realize what they just did.
Exactly.
Like, we go in there and win by 14. And that's just something that's not, that's unheard of. And, a lot of the coaches that I've talked to here, are complimenting me and say, man, that was a really good win. So I think, for us, that was our 27th win. That win kind of helped, propel us nationally a little bit to get some attention. And I think people are starting to take notice.
Absolutely. I have as I get older, I formed kind of this personal opinion that big crowds, the thinking is we got to get a big crowd because we got a big. But I'm starting to believe that the big crowd kind of helps both teams, because I see teams where there's a big crowd and both teams just play phenomenal. And then you'll watch a team that was the road team. You watch them again a couple of weeks later and go, that's not the same team. But I'm not sure. Obviously, it's a silly theory, but that's my theory.
Yeah, I think it's the makeup of your team. Some teams get intimidated. I've had some teams that were intimidated by those type of crowds. The last couple of years we've played at other places, homecomings and sold out crowds, and we were able to win the game. We try to make home games, and we were fairly good on the road this year, but we try to make those games. We don't really talk about them a lot. We just kind of tell our guys, you have an opportunity to go in there and take something from somebody on their own court. And even if you're obviously at home, it's a great advantage to have the fans behind you, especially if you get down and you hit a couple shots. But if you're the opposing team, it also, too, if you are that type of team, it can propel your play. Because if you're a team that has a chip on your shoulder and you're a team that, we got something to prove, it's almost like the villain kind of thing that you kind of feel. And I think that's what our guys feel like when we're on the road. We're going to try to take something from somebody's house. And we've had a lot of success this year kind of with that way of thinking.
As a fan, I love road games. As a fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And my saying, I always say, we're going to go in and knock their garbage cans over.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
It's always fun, you go in there.
Exactly.
So you were in the southern states. You had a really big battle with Alex Ireland. It was all Dalton State. They had a good team. They got you on that last game. You end up winning the conference. But it was a fun race from a fan standpoint. You know, I tracked the races pretty close. It was a fun race. Just talk about the southern states this year and you know the competitiveness and the teams.
It was a great conference. I think this year you could argue we were one of the top 3 conferences in NAIA. We had 6 teams to get in. I think the other team that had that many was the Crossroads, maybe.
Yeah.
We were the only team that advanced. I believe Mobile won a game as well. So we both advanced to the round of 32.
Yeah.
Either one of it's just the luck of the draw sometimes, but I felt like we had 6 teams that could have made it up here, depending on the draw and things of that nature. But it was super competitive. To be able to get this many teams in last year, we finished 3rd in the conference. We're 21-9, and we didn't get a chance to get in. We only got 2 teams in. So that one at-large team and one team that got the automatic bid, which was Loyola. So that was a little disappointing. We went back to the drawing board, as a conference and talked about how we were going to schedule this year. Because of that, we all scheduled really well. I mean, last year at 21-9, we had maybe a 60 RPI. This year we finished with a 16 RPI, and I think 6 of our teams were all quad 1, in the top 50. So that is a testament to the coaches and them paying attention to who they scheduled and winning some of those big games and non-conference games.
Yeah.
And then when we play in league, it doesn't necessarily hurt us when we play some of the other teams. Now you have 6 or 7 teams that are in the top 60 RPIs and 70. It doesn't really hurt you to play them or win or lose.
So how many conference games did you play? How many in your conference?
We were 14-4, so 18.
Mm-hmm. That's a good number because that leaves you 10. Yeah, 10 to play.
And you have to be really strategic about those games. And playing Freed, who had the number 1 schedule in the country,
that one won't hurt you.
That doesn't hurt us win, lose, or draw. It actually, I think that was the game when we lost. It propelled our team. Like we felt like, oh man, we're on the road. We played a really tough team. It could have gone either way, and that helped us become, I think, to realize like we can actually be a really good team. And then after that, we reeled off 18 out of our last 20. So it's ironic that we get to play that team again. On Friday.
That's who you're opening with?
Yes, we're opening with Freed on Friday. So
they're good. Not to scare you, but they're good.
No, they're very good.
Well coached.
It's I think you go into playing that game blindly. It's a little different, but we know exactly what to expect because we've played those guys. We play them every year, and obviously we just played them in December.
So you just had the guys over to the Municipal, which is right across the street from here. First time any of them have been here. How do you combat the, looking up at the big buildings and being awestruck? How do you combat that and just get them to believe it's just another gym?
Yeah, I think, this is the type of team we have is the moment doesn't really scare them. They're not afraid of the moment. We've played in really big games all year. The Dalton game, that was a huge game. Obviously played in a conference championship game, and then the games that we just played in were huge. New venue, new atmosphere that will have, obviously human nature that will have something that they'll have to think about. But, being able to get in there early, being able to, we're going to take them in there to see some games tomorrow. So they'll be able to kind of get a feel from that a little bit too. I think by the time we get on the floor, they'll be ready to play. I think they're tired of listening to me at practice. And I'm tired. I'll be honest with you. I'm ready to get on the floor as well. So
you make a good point about you already went into IWU and, we've watched games there before. It's a pretty big place and it can be intimidating and those students really can show out there. And excuse me. Yeah. So you open on Friday and you talked about taking teams over. I ask everybody this. Do you think if you had your choice, what day would you play? Thursday or Friday?
I would rather play. I mean, people like that rest day, but to be honest, I think once you have a chance to play, and if you're fortunate enough to win, you get momentum to keep playing. We've done that a couple times. We've played in multiple days where we've had multiple, back-to-back games. So we've kind of trying to prepare ourselves for that. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying Friday, you get a chance to see everybody, those nervous jitters that everybody else has. You get to kind of see and get a feel for everything. See if the rims are tight. You get to see if the floor is slippery at all. Like, you get the chance to see a lot of different things before you get on the floor. So we are excited about that.
So talk about your team a little bit. Just kind of run through some of the key guys you have and give them a little props.
Okay, absolutely. It obviously starts with Chase Harris, who's a National Player of the Year candidate.
Incredible.
Yeah, he's like third in the nation in assists. He averages almost 20 points a game, about 6 rebounds. Now he kind of does a little bit of everything for our team. He is, early in the season, it took him a little bit to kind of trust our system and how we could help him become a better player. And when that light switch went off, that's when I think his play really took off. We've got a ton of players.
Before you go away from Chase, by the way, it's Chaze,
but it's Chase.
Yes. I had to learn that. Coach straightened me out on that. But it appears to me that as the final 12, that last half of the season, he really got better and better. Some guys just get better as the end of the season comes. He seems to be one of those kind of guys.
Yeah, he is. And that's honestly, it's a testament for him buying into our system and having tremendous teammates around him that help him. Like, he's got guys like, he doesn't just throw it to himself. Like, he has guys where he gets, high number assists. I think he had 12 in the IWU game, or maybe 14, but or maybe it was a Johnson game. But we have really, really good shooters around him. We have inside play, so he has guys that he can throw it to.
Yeah.
Really good shooters that open up the floor for him to be able to penetrate and make plays.
And you were starting to talk about some of your other guys, and I cut you off.
No, you're fine. But I would say Tyreek Johnson. He's made 82 threes for us at almost 40% this year. He's been tremendous. They were teammates at Shawnee State. So, them coming in again, the built-in chemistry that they had helped our team a ton. You have Dara Alanade has been with me for 4 years. He leads the Southern States for the last couple of years in field goal percentage. He's like third in the nation at like 69%. He dunks everything. He's an undersized post player, but he gets it done. And Cortez Johnson, who's been our starter, he was first team All-League. He is a dynamite, athletic, wiry, power forward for us, if we want to say. And, can't talk enough about Sergeant Popovich, a really, really good floor general. We're fortunate to have 2 point guards playing on the floor at the same time. But, he makes big shots for us. We can go all the way down the line. Everybody has contributed, to our success this year. And my assistant coaches can't say enough about them and their scouting reports, and the way that they help us prepare for games is top notch. So I'm very appreciative of them as well.
So speaking of scouting, obviously 1,000,000 hours of Freed Hardman's. So, but they got some dudes. But
they do. Yes, they do.
When you look at them on video, what do you see? What do you think?
I see a team that's incredibly talented. Lots of veterans. They've been here before. They've played here before. So obviously, when they take the court, this is just another game. They don't have that. What's it going to be? How's it going to feel out there? Because they've been there before. They're tall. They play incredibly hard. They're really physical. That's probably their best attributes: their physicality and their defensive presence. They're an incredible defensive team. It's extremely hard to score against those guys. I think they're number one defensively. I think it'll be a great game. We're one of the top offensive teams in the country. So I do think it will be
a good matchup.
It'll be an interesting game. Say defense wins championships, but offense wins games. So it's kind of interesting to see. But that is a very, very formidable opponent that we're getting ready to face.
Coach, from a fan standpoint, they got one of the funnest guys to watch in the country. Is that Peyton Law?
Oh yeah,
Peyton Law is. If you're a fan and just watching basketball,
oh yeah.
Because he's a reformed football player.
He is, yes. He plays with that chip, too.
He plays with that chip.
He does. He's an incredible player. Had a chance. He's from Georgia, so we had a chance to watch him play a little bit when he was in Georgia and watch him through the years come up. And
he was a really good football player.
He was a really good football player. And, he's blossomed into one of the best players in the country. I think he's a tough cover. He can play multiple positions. He can really shoot it. We'll have our work, work ahead of us to try to stop him.
But it will be an interesting matchup because you guys do score the ball really, really well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
How excited are you for it?
I'm pretty excited.
Yeah,
I'm ready to get it going, but you still have the game prep. You still have, we have some more things that we have to go over. We're breaking the game down piece by piece of things that we want to show our guys and have them kind of focused on a few things. We don't want to give them too much as coaches. You can get into the a habit of, you want to show them everything. You want to tell them everything. You just want your players to be able to go out there and execute and play. And that's kind of where we're headed with everything. We just want them to go out there and be the best version of themselves.
And before I let you go, you got to give some props to your assistants. You're here now, but they're probably off working right now. These guys are working their tails off this time of year.
They are, and from travel, booking travel, and doing the food, the hotels, and all that stuff, as well as scouting. And then if you're fortunate enough to win, being able to scout the next opponents to kind of have that in line. And they've done a tremendous job. I can't say enough about those guys. They are, we all are basketball junkies. We watch it, we talk about it all the time. And, you have to have staff synergy, and your players can see that too if it's something that's not aligned. So
Absolutely.
Being able to have a staff where, everything's aligned, I think that helps out quite a bit.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes. I know it's a really busy time for you. Glad I finally got to meet you in person.
Absolutely.
That's Kevin Easley. He's the head men's basketball coach, Life University.